You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, we have a final in Los Angeles. A heck of a game, back and forth all night. Clippers coming out on top once again, beating the Toronto Raptors. I am Pete Fox. Thank you for joining me here on Locked On Sports LA, the YouTube channel, the Locked On Clippers Postcast. I have been covering sports for ESPN and NBC Sports Radio in Los Angeles since 2007. Covered this Clippers team quite a bit back in the Doc Rivers days. And this team, once again, continues to amaze. Tonight's show brought to you by FanDuel. Check out FanDuel, make every moment more. And right now, with new customers, you get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Also, would be nice if somebody subscribed. I would appreciate that. I don't think anyone has subscribed yet to the Locked On Clippers Postcast. So if you do, you would be the first one. So you can tell all your friends that you were the first to subscribe. If you're not, I'm sure somebody will at some point in time, but no one has yet. So it would be much appreciated. I'm not going to say smash the subscribe button because I swore I never would say that, but it would be nice if you actually tapped it, engaged it, whatever you want to call it, to be a subscriber to the Locked On Clippers Postcast. Or if you just want to listen, you can find us on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed, wherever you get your podcast. Tonight's game against the Toronto Raptors was slow to get going as far as the Clippers pulling away into a comfortable position. But all in all, they just delivered a fantastic, exciting, good watch, very enjoyable game as they have of late. This one was not an ugly rock fight. This one was not a blowout. It took a while for the Clippers to get comfortable. It took a while for them to figure out and kind of outlast the Raptors, if you will, because the Raptors were not giving the Clippers a lot of room to breathe. They were not giving them a lot of opportunities. They were not missing a lot of shots. So the Clippers won this game tonight by ultimately, in the end, out shooting the Raptors, even though the statistics don't show that. It was very, very close. 54.8 for the Raptors, 46 of 84. And the Clippers were 49 of 93 for 52%, but just a little bit better from beyond the arc, 44% to 40 for the Raptors. Most of that came in the fourth quarter for the Clippers, where PG and, of course, Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell started banging down threes, very important threes in the fourth quarter. But one of the things going into this game that Ty Lue put on the whiteboard, if you will, as an emphasis, was dealing with the Raptors' transition. They are the number one fast break team in the league. So the Clippers' transition defense was tested coming into this one. And early on, I didn't think they were handling it all that well, mainly because, as I mentioned, the Raptors just weren't missing. So it didn't really matter how much D they provided. The Raptors took advantage of the open looks and banged them down. So, kind of counterpunching back and forth, a 1-point game after the first quarter, with the Raptors leading it 29-28. But I thought the Clippers were just maybe a little bit lazy on defense, a little bit unenthusiastic, I guess would be a better word. I don't want to say they played poorly. They didn't. Their perimeter D just wasn't quite there. And that you could give some credit to the Raptors for that, for passing the ball, finding the open man, and getting good looks. The Clippers were off as well. So with that, I mean, they shot 52%. So they got it going. But in the first half, they just kind of weren't banging down the open looks. James Harden, though, once again, passing the ball fantastically, finding the open man, just good floor vision, which is the thing I've really enjoyed about his game of late, always finding the open man. And he did that again tonight to the tune of 11 assists with 14 points. Once again, all 5 starters in double figures. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both leading the way with 29 apiece on Kawhi Leonard Day, as they were calling it in LA, as he signed a 3-year, $152 million extension, right around 50 some million next year. And then it drops down a little bit to like 49 million. But he will be in LA for the next 3 years at a minimum, and help them open the new Intuit Dome next year in Inglewood. So that's very exciting. So he came out and delivered on a night when he got paid, and that's good for him. It was another fantastic performance from Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I just don't know how to describe this every night as being as exciting as it is. They both look so calm and cool and comfortable. And I swear, it looks like Paul George does not ever break a sweat. I was looking closely tonight. I was trying to get into the TV screen and say, is he even perspiring? Is he even sweating at all? I swear, I couldn't see it. I could not see it. But, probably a little moist, I would assume. He doesn't seem to sweat. Kawhi Leonard also looks very, very cool. Of course, both of them in superlatives tonight. I've come up with a couple of different ones that we haven't done before. And in our second segment, we have a new feature tonight that is called Bucket List. I think you can probably figure out what was going on there. As far as players off the bench, once again, Norman Powell, a big performance with 13 points. Russell Westbrook, just 14 minutes, went 3 of 9 for just 6 points. He had a double-edged sword of a night, if you will. I really appreciated his aggression. One of the things I've liked about Russell's game of late is that he's been bringing energy to the floor by playing defense and passing, and then, hitting the open looks when he has them. Tonight, he was penetrating into the lane and to the rack, but missing. So I was like, I really appreciate the aggression, but I'm a little frustrated that you can't bang down those bunnies. He missed like 3 or 4 layups, which was unfortunate, but played good, played nice defense. It wasn't great. It wasn't that kind of energetic experience that we've seen from him lately. So I think he got a little ahead of himself. Maybe he's gotten a little, cocky, a little full of himself with the play. So he said, you know what, rather than passing or just playing defense or showing that energy, I'm going to take it to the rack. Well, he did that a few times and missed some very easy, important buckets. But as I said, in 14 minutes, he did have 6 points. So it was a nice performance. And again, anytime he's on the floor, it's good for the Clippers. We will take a break and come back and get into our new feature called Bucket List. Thank you for joining us here on the Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA podcast network as the Clippers beat the Raptors 126-120. All right, tonight we're going to talk about FanDuel right after I hit this. There we go. FanDuel, our sponsor tonight, our main sponsor. And you know what? The NFL season, regular season, wrapped up, heading to the playoffs. This is a good time to get in on the action for NFL playoff season. Do it on FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets. That means you can play on them for quite a while. Those bonus bets really make life easy when it comes to wagering and picking bets, or picking teams rather. It's $150 in bonus bets, and that's even if you lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to get on and enjoy yourself. You have live same game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and of course, a whole lot more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel.com, official partner of the NFL. All right, welcome back. Not that I went anywhere. I was wondering why we said that. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Where are you going? Clippers now 24-13 after a 126-120 win over the Raptors, who we thought were going to be a little exhausted after a tight run with the Lakers last night, where they felt they got jobbed, or at least their coach felt they got jobbed by the referees, only going to the free throw line 2 times, and the Lakers had 23 free throws. Tonight, that was not an issue, thankfully, because we didn't want to see Reykjavik or whatever his name is. I'm not terribly familiar with him. I don't want to see him go off again last night like he did. He was none too pleased. Tonight, the Raptors got to the line 18 times, making 16 of those. Clippers with a perfect night at the line. Woohoo! 13 of 13. So our new feature is called Bucket List. This is where I've written down what I think, in my opinion, is the top 10 or so buckets of the game and where they had an impact on the game. Because this Clipper team right now finds different and interesting ways to win. And, you know, there are times when they get down, and then I've said this over and over again recently, that I feel like they're very resilient when they are down, even double digits, which didn't happen tonight. I think their largest deficit was 6 to 8 or somewhere in that vicinity. They bounce right back. This game had 37, maybe it was 38 different lead changes. That's how tight it was throughout. So it was an up and down, back and forth night. So there was a lot of key buckets in this game. First one to me came in the 7:28 mark. It was Kawhi Leonard with a big layup and a foul. I'm sorry, it was a mid-range jumper and a foul. He of course hit the free throw to make it 12-8. At that point, it was, they were going back and forth again. It was still early, 7:28 of the first. So the 3-point play there for Kawhi gave them a nice little comfortable lead of 3 points. And then at the 3:54 mark of the first, Kawhi Leonard with a block shot. And that was huge for them at that point. And then he made a block shot, and then he made a bucket. So at that point, it put them up 7. So they took their lead from 3 to 7 in a few minutes there. Then at the 9, what does that say? Can't read my own writing there. So it was 3:54. I guess that would have been the 2:12 mark in that neighborhood of this. Oh, this was the second. That's why. Of the second quarter at the 9:12 mark, Daniel Tice with a block shot, and then an outlet to Harden, who bangs down a 3. That put him down 1 right there when they were down 5 or 6 at that point. Then at the 7:09 mark of the second, Terrence Mann over to Coffey for an alley-oop layup, which put them up 1. This was right before a timeout from the Raptors. It got the bench up in the air, and, an exciting play that gave the Clippers a ton of energy. Then with 2.1 seconds of the second, Norman Powell once again with a 3 from the corner to give them another lead, which they had just surrendered. Again, I mentioned there were 37 to 38 lead changes in this game. So Norman Powell hitting a big 3 right in the final seconds of the first half to give the Clippers a 58-57 lead was huge for them. Going into the break with a lead was imperative. I mean, they could have been down 5 or 6 at that point, but they went into the break leading. Then early in the third, Paul George with a hammer dunk, which tied the game at 71. At this point, Paul George was trailing Kawhi Leonard as far as the points, but he started, kind of a slow first half for PG, started to get things rolling. And another big play, that dunk right there, got the bench up, got them excited, and it got them into a tie ball game. Then Harden to Kawhi Leonard with another alley-oop. They had 3 or 4 of those, and those are always exciting, right? Everyone loves the alley-oop play. The bench, the fans, everyone. It's just a good feeling play. That was at the 6:23 mark, and it gave the Clippers another lead, 76-75. Then back-to-back threes to start the fourth from Paul George and Norman Powell to give them a 5-point lead. Now, this to me was probably the biggest moment of the game, because this is where the Clippers started to pull away. They started to pad their lead, and I don't believe they trailed again. Although it did get close down to 3 in the final seconds, they did not trail again. And then Harden made a driving layup at the 9-minute mark, and it was 101-95 at that point. And from there, really, they just kind of cruised to victory. Cruising maybe isn't the right word. They were able to gut it out, hold on to their lead, and win it by 6, 126-120. 2 other baskets that I felt were huge. Maybe let's call it 4 baskets, 2 from each of these guys. Huge threes. Paul George, then Powell, then Paul George and Powell again, and then Paul George a third time in the fourth quarter. So huge threes from those guys down the stretch, which gave the Clippers comfortable leads. And then in the final minute, Kawhi Leonard, a huge dunk, and then Paul George, another 3. So he finished the night with 5 threes, part of 29 on the night. Kawhi had 2 threes, part of 29, which included 7 assists. So he was dishing the ball. He was shooting the ball, very high percentage from the floor for both of those guys. 12 of 22 for PG and 10 of 18 for Kawhi Leonard. Now, as we go down the list of the starters and their numbers, Ivica Zubac, who's been playing very well. I incorrectly mentioned a couple nights ago that he had back-to-back points or back-to-back games with 19. It was 22 when he led the way, and then 19 a couple of nights ago against the Suns. Well, tonight, very efficient again, 6 of 8 for 12 points, finishing like an all-star. That's the thing I find to be really confidence building about Ivica Zubac's game. When James Harden or Kawhi Leonard finds him deep in the lane, he's able to finish more often than not. He only missed 2 shots. And that's just a good feeling for your team. Whether you're up, whether you're down, when your big man gets the ball, he's going to put it in the basket more often than not. Again, 12 points for Zubac and 11 boards. James Harden had 14. He was 5 of 13 on the night, a double-double with 11 assists. And Terrence Mann in 24 minutes, perfect. How about that for Terrence Mann? Did not miss a shot. 5 of 5 from the floor and 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. So those guys were that starting lineup is just so tough to deal with. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting both sick of hearing it, and it also feels kind of good. Every other coach in the pregame or at some point in time is referenced to saying the Clippers are tough to defend. They are a tough defense to deal with, or your defense against their offense is tough. Yes, we get it. There's 3 potential Hall of Famers, and it's a lot of scoring options. It's fairly obvious to me, right? Oh, it's tough to defend them. Really? It's like, okay, thanks. You get paid millions of dollars to tell me it's tough to defend the Clippers? Okay, way to go. I mean, it's along the same lines of what Doc Rivers used to say. And I loved this about Doc Rivers. He would say this all the time whenever the Clippers had a bad night and they lost. Hey, this is a make-miss league, and when you miss the ball going into the hoop, you don't win. It is a make-miss league, and you got to make shots to win. Something to that effect. And I was like, amen. Because sometimes you watch a basketball game and you go, they played great. I don't know why they lost. Well, because they didn't make enough shots. And you feel stupid saying that. So I just find it interesting that opposing coaches come into these games against the Clippers and go, they're tough to guard. Wow. You got a lot of scoring options there. You got the double one guy, and that always leaves a guy open. Really? Thanks, coach. You're a genius. 126-120, the final tonight as the Clippers win their 24th game of the season, 16th on their home floor. We'll take our last break. We'll come back and do our superlatives, where we highlight the stars of the night, which is always hard. It's been really difficult to pick out 3. So guess what? Tonight I picked out 4. All right, it is time to talk about these guys. BetterHelp. They are lots of help. Let me get the script so I can give you the specific details. Yes, the show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Around New Year's, we feel compelled to come up with a resolution or 3 or 4 ways to change or improve ourselves. It's usually about dieting or working out more, things like that, going to bed earlier, that type of stuff, just expanding or trying to expand on the things you do poorly. Well, how about this? Let's look at it the other way and expand on the things we do well. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. Now, I've done therapy a few different times over the years, and it's always been very helpful to me when it comes to dealing with issues or problems that cause me to be angry or frustrated or whatever. I always enjoy having the viewpoint of a professional to explain to me or give me tools to deal with issues that I have, whether they're things that cause me to get angry or upset or just challenging situations. I enjoy getting the opinion of a professional to help me deal with those things. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. And I have done it both in person and online, and they're not very different at all. It is the very same experience, very similar, very comfortable, and very effective. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, Clippers win at 126-120. Thank you for watching us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and listening to us on the Locked On Clippers podcast feed. Feel free. I'm extending an invitation to become a subscriber. Please. I need one subscriber. It would just make me feel good that you're subscribing to the Locked On Clippers postcast. We're covering every game right after the game to give you the insights of what happened and what we saw. And this one, it was good, enjoyable watch from beginning to end. This was one of those kind of must-see games where, you didn't feel like you could walk away because it was so tight back and forth. And in the end, the Clippers were able to, gain a double-digit lead in the fourth and pull away. But they did get down to 3 in the final minute. Then Kawhi had that huge dunk at the 1 minute mark. And then Paul George hit a 3. It was all said and done at 126-120. Raptors played a great game considering they played last night. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier that I thought was interesting was Brian Seaman made a comment that he wanted to see more offense from James Harden. And I was just like, I don't know that I agree with that. And I generally really enjoy what Brian Seaman's perspective on this game is. He's been covering the Clippers for 20 plus years. So he definitely knows his basketball. I feel like James Harden as a facilitator, as a guy that passes the ball, is more effective for the Clippers. And it makes it more effective for him as well. I would much rather see him with double-digit assists than double-digit points. Tonight, a double-double. He had 14 points and 11 assists. I feel like the passing of the ball from James Harden allows him to score the ball easier. But, of course, he makes it look so easy when you're struggling offensively a little bit. I understand where he's coming from, that take a few more shots, Harden. You're going to make them. You're a good basketball player. And he makes it look so easy. But I'm enjoying, and I feel like him passing the ball, him facilitating, his vision of the floor is so good right now that that is more beneficial to the Clippers than him scoring. Another James Harden story from the game that Fratello, the color commentator, the czar, Coach Fratello, Mike Fratello, whatever his name is, he made a comment that he heard James Harden commenting to the Raptor players on the floor when Kawhi would have the ball or Paul George would have the ball or whoever, when it was out of his hands. He would say, go double team him. Go double team him. Go. Because we know that anytime there's a guy being double teamed on this Clipper team on the floor, that opens somebody up, and more often than not, that guy's going to bang down a shot. All right, let's get into our superlatives tonight. We'll start with most creative. My most creative player of the night was James Harden. And once again, finding Zoo, finding everyone, looking for the open man, cross-court passes, just feeding the ball to whoever was under the basket so effectively and so precisely, just continues to pass the ball with a high level of expertise and high efficiency. And it's just, to me, one of the reasons right now the Clippers are playing so well. It would be like it's an unsung hero to a certain extent, because obviously when Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are putting up 29 apiece, that's the key to the game. But James Harden passing the ball is also very, very important. All right, most gullible was one I came up with that I found in a list of typical yearbook superlatives. And my most gullible player of the night was Russell Westbrook, thinking that he was a little bit hotter shooting the ball than he was. Kept driving the lane with an aggressive attitude, attacking. You like seeing that. But when he couldn't make the bunnies time after time, it's like, all right, that's enough. You missed 2 or 3 layups already. Stop. I know the shooters are going to shoot, but penetrating and missing layups, you're just off. All right. Just pass the ball, play defense, show us your energy. We like that. It's been very beneficial for the team. So slow down a little bit. I'm thinking you can penetrate. I'm not saying he can't. He just couldn't tonight. He missed far too many. He made a few, Didn't miss them all. He made a few, but he missed more than he made when it came to the layups. So I didn't love that. But my most gullible player, Russell Westbrook, thinking he was hotter than he was. Best smile of the night, Kawhi Leonard. He was smiling from ear to ear on the inside. Kawhi is a very subdued guy, as we know, but he had to be smiling after that contract extension, 3 years, $153 million, and 29 points, 10 of 18 from the floor, 2 of 4 from beyond the arc, a perfect night at the free throw line, 7 for 7, and 7 dimes, 7 assists. So a great night for Kawhi Leonard, both financially and from his play. And last but not least, our best dressed player, as I mentioned earlier, Paul George, always looks so good. I really liked it. I think these are the city uniforms. There's 4. They were pimping, buying the uniforms. Hey, if you get your jersey and support your favorite player and all that. And then I'll get all 4. And I was like, there's 4 jerseys. So I'm like, I can't, now that I think about it, I forgot about the navy blue one that has like the script clips. That's without a doubt my favorite, but this black one that they're wearing tonight, I believe that's the city jersey. That one is cool. The old school royal blue and the white, those are just, they're fine. They're just a little tired for me. I like the new black ones that they were wearing tonight, and those blue ones, those navy blue ones that say clips and script. Those 2 are my favorites. So they looked good, but Paul George looked even better, mainly because, as I mentioned, he doesn't sweat. He doesn't even look like he's working. Doesn't even look like he's doing any sort of physical activity. So in 38 minutes, 12 of 22, 5 of 9 from beyond the arc, came alive in the fourth quarter when the Clippers needed it most, and that was huge. So Paul George, both with his jersey and his lack of sweat and his play, made him the best dressed player of the night for me. And other guys that deserve mention tonight here on the Clippers postcast is Amir Coffey, who had 6 points off the bench in 18 minutes, but once again came in and played very, very energetically on defense. As we know, defense is about effort, and Amir Coffey comes in every night and gives 100%. He does that thing that coaches love, chases the player with the ball, fights for rebounds. He just does the dirty work, right? And he can also score the ball. Missed a couple of threes that would have been very meaningful, that would have made it to our bucket list, but still a good night for him, and an even better night for Norman Powell. Continues to play very, very efficiently. Solid basketball off the bench in 27 minutes. They got him in there fairly early in the first quarter. He had 4 of 11, so maybe not so efficient. I apologize, but 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, and 13 points, which included 3 rebounds. So another nice night for Norman Powell. But as I mentioned, a pair of huge threes in the fourth quarter that the Clippers desperately needed to pad that lead as the Raptors were trying to rally after they fell down by double digits in this game that went back and forth. And it was just tight all night until the Clippers kind of needed to step on the gas and pull away late in the fourth quarter. And they did that and won the game. So you feel really good about the fact that they played a team that, can run up and down the court, can play solid basketball, and was playing good basketball tonight, filling it up. Over 50% for the Raptors, 54.8 to be specific, 40% from beyond the arc. And the Clippers, when they needed it late in the fourth quarter, started shooting the 3. They finished the night 15 of 34 from beyond the arc for 44% and 52.7% from the floor, 49 of 93, leading them to their 24th win. 126-120 over the Raptors. Our next game, Friday night in Memphis. So they'll be on the road on Beale Street to face the Memphis Grizz, who should be a fairly easy win for them as they're dealing with some injuries. They took care of them rather easily last time, but you never know. Anything's possible. This Memphis team is obviously going to do their best to rally, but I think the Clippers should dominate that one as well. But we'll see. It's Friday night, I believe, 5:00 against the Memphis Grizz. Join us right after here on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Clippers podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for joining me. I will talk to you on Friday. Have a good night.
You are Locked On Clippers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.